is author Ellie Alexander in Leavenworth, Washington. I'm at the Enzian Inn with Jordan. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. Good
on
morning.
This cold,
brisk
morning. So, can you talk a little bit about your hotel specifically in terms of its history? Because when I was up doing a research trip a few years ago, I stayed and I was just stunned at especially some of the woodwork, and I learned that that was done by hand, correct?
Sure. Yeah. The hotel was built in 1983 by the Johnson family, and so the Johnsons had lived in the valley for a number of years. And as the economic turned for Leavenworth, they saw an opportunity and bought some land and built this hotel in 3 phases.
3 phases.
So the backstory for the Johnsons is that they were woodworkers and construction folks, and so they built homes and did woodworking, and so they took that set of skills towards building this hotel by hand, and then did some really nice craftsmanship, handmade, hand-carved wood, hand-carved beams, walkways, archways, so they displayed their talents really well inside.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Now, Leavenworth, as we know it today, is this sort of Bavarian Mecca, was not always this way. In the 1960s was really when sort of a revitalization happened, correct?
Yeah, correct. Well, it really struggled from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and into the 60s, and then there was a group of individuals that lived here that felt like they were so ingrained and that this was their home and this was where their roots were, yet they were dying. So they got together and commissioned a study from the University of Washington to come in and look at some possibilities for economic development. And several of the ideas that were laid out on the table, the one that came to fruition and that they liked the best was to try to rely on tourism and use the backdrop of the mountains and turn it into a tourist-based economy with a European, German type of flavor.
And now it is a tourist mecca. It's Oktoberfest right now this weekend. And can you talk about how many people you'll be having come through?
Well, the great part for me is there's only 105 rooms, so we can only be full to 105. But in town, there will probably be 15 to 18,000 people coming to visit Oktoberfest today, which is a high number. It's a lot of people, but it pales in comparison to the 30 or 35,000 that we'll see for Christmas lighting in December. So
yeah, so the Winter Light Festival is
that's
even bigger
one.
celebration,
Absolutely,
correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
But Leavenworth is a pretty small town otherwise in terms of residents. We're talking just a few thousand people.
Right. So Leavenworth, actually, inside of Leavenworth, we have the largest school district in the state because we reach a pretty wide geographic area. Here in Leavenworth, there's about 3,500 people that live. In the summertime, with the tourism-based economy for rafting and hiking and biking and such, we'll add to that non-residents. So just be here for the summer, so maybe 4,000, 4,200.
So by the end of sort of the peak tourist season, is everyone like, no, I don't want to see another pair of Lederhosen, or?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, there's somewhat of a divide. I mean, there's a divide of people that make their living on the economy of tourism. And then there's a divide of people that have lived here for a number of years and that this is just their home. So they may work in Wenatchee or they may work here in Leavenworth outside of the tourism-based economy. And so sometimes the traffic and the struggles that come along with 18,000, 20,000, 30,000 people influxing into your town can be a little difficult and challenging, but overall, it's clear to most people that if we didn't have the tourists coming, we wouldn't have the opportunities that we do here in Leavenworth. So I would say, for the most part, everyone endures it in those high seasons. So.
Yes, and then you get a little reprieve at least.
Sure.
Now for you, every morning you're playing the Alphorn.
Right.
How did that come to fruition?
That tradition began about 2 years after the hotel opened. Mr. Johnson, who played the Alphorn here for 33 years, he had a friend, and they were at dinner one evening, and that gentleman had an Alphorn at his house. And they got to talking about it after dinner, just chatting, and that Alphorn is actually downstairs in our lobby now. And so they said, well, let's get it down and play it, and he did it, and then a day or two later he thought, maybe that would be something we could do at the hotel. So at that point, the hotel, this section we're in wasn't here, but down on that balcony was the first phase. And so Mr. Johnson used to play down there. So he brought it out and played it, and guests enjoyed it, and it was well received. And so the tradition is carried on every day since then.
Every day?
Every day.
So you are up at 8 o'clock, waking up the village every day.
Someone is, right?
Someone is,
so,
right?
so I don't do it every day, but somebody is,
Yeah.
And so it's a great tradition. a great way to connect with guests.
Yeah.
And something that young and old enjoy, and so we really enjoy playing it.
I asked you before we started the interview, I saw a gaggle of kids like following after you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming one of the questions you get asked most often is it hard?
Right.
Yeah.
It's well, I've never played another musical instrument. I did play the drums for a little while, but boss went on vacation. He said I should just learn it.
Can
and
you
so
do it?
I
Yeah.
just went downstairs and practiced it. And it's like anything. If you apply yourself, you can generally, maybe not brain surgery, but this is simple. And you just get a deep breath and blow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If someone were coming to Leavenworth for the very first time,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you want to send them downtown to see the village and shop.
Right.
But what other experiences do you recommend?
This has just been a real blessing living here in Leavenworth. So it really just depends on when you're coming. If you want an opportunity for some tremendous hiking, certainly the fall is just awesome. So walking down along the Wenatchee River, up here in the canyon is wonderful. I never miss an opportunity to go down to the Muchen House and have a sausage midweek.
Right.
I particularly enjoy fishing,
Uh-huh.
snowmobiling, motorcycling. There's just so many things to do outside. Certainly the shops downtown are unique. Each owner-operated shop, local people, I know most of them, put a tremendous amount of care and thought into what they're trying to do down there for either retail sales or food and beverage. So you just come, park yourself at a nice spot, maybe the Enzian Inn, and walk around for a couple of days,
Uh-huh.
and you'll find something just by grabbing a tourist guide for Leavenworth that'll appeal to you because there's such a diversity of things to do here.
So one of the things that I talk about in the book, and obviously I don't live here, but I've come many times for research, and I'm a native Washingtonian myself,
Mm-hmm.
is just sort of the collective vibe of community. And I get that feeling as an outsider. Is that true as an insider?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, for my family, it's been a wonderful place to raise kids. Very strong school district, very strong community, a lot of spirit of volunteerism, service. When you have a small town like this, with so much going on year round, there's really no way that it can run except for on the backbone of a lot of volunteers and a lot of enthusiastic people who really care about the town and want to see the best for it.
And who are engaged.
Who
in
are
it then.
engaged
Yeah.
and available and want to be here. We see a lot of retirees come into town, and so they're done, quote unquote. But yet they will quickly find a way to come on board. A couple of them actually here at the Enzian have picked up and support me on days that I'm off playing the Alphorn. So a couple of retired folks, Brad and Janet, moved into town, and so I found them, and so they found their little part-time job here doing this. So.
That's perfect. Before we end, the last thing I have to ask you about, Sloan, my protagonist in the series, is quite the foodie. And you put on a Bavarian spread. Can we talk about pastries for a minute?
The puff pastries.
The puff pastries.
Yeah, the puff pastries. Yeah, so some days my kids say, Dad, let's go to school late and go get the puff pastries out of the Enzian. So
Yeah.
they're something of legend when they come out of the oven back there. They're the best between 7:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning, piping hot and fresh. It's a unique specialty of the hotel, for sure.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining me this
Of
morning.
course. I'm happy to do it. Thanks for coming.